Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am just doing a couple cook with me videos, just 2 recipes, because if I do more than that, it takes me too long. So I thought I'd do 2 at a time. So I'm first just making some zucchini boats and stuffed peppers. These are gluten-free. I use quinoa with mine instead of rice because I just like quinoa better and I want something that is healthier and gluten-free. So I've washed my peppers and you just want to hollow them out. It's pretty self-explanatory. But one thing that you should do that I did not is lightly cut off the bottom so that the bottoms are flat, because you'll see later in this video they completely fall over in the pan. So that's like a little tip that I learned after the fact, but that's okay. So I'm just hollowing out my peppers. And you can use any kind of meat. You can use beef, you could use pork, you could use ground chicken, ground turkey. You could even use like a veggie ground or like a bean mixture if you're vegetarian or vegan. I've done chickpeas, and that's really yummy with some like goat's cheese and herbs and stuff like that. It's really yummy. So I'm adding an onion. I like to just chop up an onion and add that to the meat mixture just to give it a little something extra. And you actually can, I think the recipe said you can chop up the top of the pepper and add that in with the meat as well. I just prefer doing meat and onions on the inside. So I'm just sprinkling a pan with olive oil and adding the onions. I'm going to brown that up, and I've added some fresh garlic as well. And then I believe I'm using ground turkey in this recipe. So you just want to cook all of that together and get it all nice and brown and cooked up. And then we are going to add our seasoning. So I'm just adding some salt and some pepper, and you could also add like Italian seasoning as well. That would be really, really yummy, or Greek style seasoning, or any fresh herbs, or basically whatever you want. So now that that is cooking up, I'm gonna start the zucchini boat. So you literally just wash your zucchini, cut them in half, and then you hollow them out. Now I hollowed them out after they cooked just because it's so much easier. It takes 2 seconds just to run a spoon through it, and it's just easier that way, but you'll see that in a second. So you just want to cut them all lengthwise, and then you're gonna put them onto a baking sheet or a pan and sprinkle them with some olive oil, and then put them in the oven for about, I don't think it was very long, 400 degrees for like 20 minutes, I think. And then or 15 minutes, and then they get nice and soft so that you can scrape them out. So now I'm just adding some tomato sauce to the quinoa and meat mixture. Classico is my favorite, but it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. And that's the beauty of this recipe, is like you can add or take away anything. You can totally customize it. But my whole family loves these. The girls don't eat the peppers, but they will eat the inside. So now I just poured the quinoa in, and I mixed in a very tiny, tiny amount of cheese. I pretty much don't eat dairy, but once in a while, if there's like a little tiny bit of cheese in a recipe, I'm okay with it. So I'm just adding a little bit here for some flavor and mixing all of that in. Then, as you can see, I'm just hollowing out my zucchinis now that they are nice and soft. It's so much easier, and it takes 2 seconds. Makes a little bit of a mess on the pan, but whatever. It's easier, so I like doing it this way. And then you just add your meat mixture into the zucchini. And I promise you guys, this is so, so delicious. I prefer this over like spaghetti with noodles all day, every day. I don't know what it is about this meat mixture and cheese on top of zucchini. It's so good. You guys need to try these. They're so, so delicious. I'm obsessed. Next, I'm just going to do my peppers, and you're going to see in a second, it completely falls over on the pan. And the pan was a bitch to clean afterwards, but I learned my lesson. So definitely cut off the ends so that it lays flat for you and it won't make a huge mess of your pan. then we're just going to sprinkle some cheese on top of the zucchini boats and on top of the stuffed peppers. And then you're just going to plop them in the oven for, I think, oh my gosh, I can't even remember. I have to actually watch my own video to see how long. I think it was like 25 minutes, 25 minutes. Because it's already cooked. It's just that makes it nice and crisp, and they are so delicious. So this next meal is going to be a shepherd's pie. So if you have a cast iron skillet, that would be the best thing, but if not, that's okay too. You can just use a normal pan. So I'm just frying up some onions and garlic in the pan with some olive oil. I would have done shredded carrots with it, but I actually don't have shredded carrots. And then I have a pot of potatoes boiling in chicken broth. You always want to boil them in chicken broth because it just, they hold the flavor and it tastes so much better. So once this is done, I'm gonna add, we got this beef from a butcher, so we've got 2 pounds of ground beef. You can use 1 pound, but I'm making a meal for my brother and sister-in-law who are having a baby today or early tomorrow, so we'll see. So I'm using 2 pounds, but you don't have to. So just gonna brown this up, and then we will add the meat and some seasoning. Okay, so I added the beef, and I'm mixing in some gravy. This will just make your shepherd's pie extra nice. So you just want to mix that in. I actually just found this, or Colin found this, a Swiss chalet beef gravy, or you could just do like beef broth with some flour and spices and make your own. But this was, I had that on hand, so I thought I would just do that. So I'm just gonna brown all this together and let it thicken, and then I will add the vegetables. Okay, so I've just lightly mashed the potatoes. I'm gonna actually whip them in a minute, but a trick to make them more rich is to add an egg. It just really makes it extra nice. So you just add an egg, and I'm gonna add salt, pepper, milk, and a little bit of cream cheese just to make it extra. Just gonna mix all that together. It's really hard to do with one hand. So I whipped up the mashed potatoes, and now I'm just gonna add some frozen veg mix. Whoops, lost one. To the cottage pie. I'm not doing a ton. I don't like a ton of vegetables in mine, just like a little bit. So just adding that, and then we will layer it and bake it in the oven covered in some cheese. You guys, this is quite honestly the largest shepherd's pie I've ever made. Like, here's my hand. It's huge. So I just put the potatoes on top of the meat, but you don't want to like dump it on. You want to do it in like balls, and then slowly spread it out. Otherwise it'll get all mixed in. And I just sprinkled it with some cheese, and I'm going to put it in the oven at 375 for about 25 minutes to half an hour. So I just had that in for about 25 minutes, and you can see it's all bubbly and the outer crust is just a bit crispier. You could put it in longer if you want, but I think that's perfect. So it's so good. I'm so excited to eat this. It just looks amazing and gluten-free. So it's a fall family favorite over at our. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you want to see more of these videos, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.